I want to give two pictures why I think we will have a great time when we go to the Eightfold Path together. Why I think it might be rewarding, not just on a personal level, I develop myself, I do something good for me, that's for sure. But we will also discover that without attentively doing it, we will feel connected with what's going on in the world, not in the sense of all the troubles we are facing at any time, always, but also in being connected with what is carrying the world, what is contributing to its flourishing. And you might have noticed when you philosophize about what's luck, what's happiness, then it has very much to do with feeling connected. So that's what I hope, that going through the course together will not only serve our personal development, but also serve the carrying forces with which we can come in contact, and through this will make us happy and lucky. Eurythmy deals with gestures of the alphabet. Each sound is a different gesture. And the belief is that the sounds are not just inventions, how could we move our mouth to produce beautiful letters, sounds, but we use 4 systems which live in us to make our mouth round, to concentrate the cheeks, or to stretch the tongue when we say I, and so on. And also the consonants are, in a way, you can say, power systems. And through this you say, okay, where does these power systems come from? Okay, they have developed through evolution. And the human beings have discovered how to use them. That's one thing. The next question is, but where they come from? We have just said, out of evolution. But where are they rooted? Where are they nourished? So you have a seed, and it comes out of earlier trees and so on through evolution to become a tree each time. But there must be the roots must find the soil which belongs to it, the right soil even, that they can grow. So where are these 4 systems rooted? And there you could say one system, a bigger system where those 4 systems might be rooted, is the system of the qualities of the planetary forces. Not just the planet, because they are just out there, spatial things, but the quality of, which we associate with these planets. And they live somewhere around in the earth, and we can differentiate them. And the same, or maybe the zodiac forces, build life forces, or nourish life forces in our body, the quality of the zodiac forces. So, and now you could say, okay, why does Theodore suggest to do you movements, to connect with the energy of the you in different ways when we do the right opinion? And here make a full stop, I go somewhere else, and then I come back to because that's absolutely new, and that's what brought, or what Rudolf Steiner brought to this path. That's his deed, not just refining the words, as I told you before, and making them appropriate for our times, for our ways of thinking. Or that we can not just follow them, we have to do this and we have to do that, but we can meditate the task. Okay. Children like fairy tales, like stories, and we human beings sometimes like to be children too. And so why not having fairy tales around us, because they have a nourishing quality. And maybe let's just say that also people who are busy with esoteric studies, like Rudolf Steiner is, they tell us fairy tales. We don't have to say, oh, that's like this and that like that. It's something to just take in and maybe draw an inspiration from that. And if we do not get an inspiration, we leave it. And if we get inspiration, we just are careful that it's our inspiration. It's not just an imprint of the story. And one story, which is often told, is that evolution does not just take place physically. There was matter, it differentiated, and it started to interact, creating new matter, and so on. But there's also a spiritual evolution, which actually brings the processes happening in matter about. And this evolution is a very, very long-term evolution, maybe even longer than we can detect materialistic or material traces. And when you listen to what Steiner tells, maybe also other tell, is there was a time where creation was not about, it was just in the beginning. And then, the human being had to form itself. Then a sort of creation had to take place to even start building a body. And in the Bible you read about the paradise and Adam and Eve. And it took a time before they came down to earth or went out of paradise. And that's a time which is described like, oh yes, there we were sort of very open beings living in the senses, not so much having a body. It's hard to imagine, but it's a little bit described like this. And then there comes a phase where this event happens. Now you come down to earth, you start building a body. And then in mankind a sort of evolution took place where step after step mankind had to learn new capacities. And they in a way were led. They could not say, I want to learn this and I want to learn that, because you only can say you want to learn this or that when you know what you want to learn. So in a way it was given, this evolution was imprinted. And the interesting thing is that when you look how it's described, then it says, oh, the first thing people had to develop, or mankind had to develop, was given to it the capacity of memory. Because before, when the senses were so open, you just lived in everything and you were only present. But what was before? And so when this capacity came, people started to realize we have forefathers. And the reverence for where one comes from, for the forefathers, came about, or was nourished, became nourishment even, for experience. I'm living in a stream of bodiness. Yeah. And then out of this, in the next step, because now you want to get hold of it, you want to learn also to become an important person which is remembered. And this, the striving for success, in a way, or for becoming somebody. Yeah, you still find it in the Romans, who said, if you do not become a figure of history for the later generations, you weren't successful. Yeah? So this, I want to survive in the memory of my descendants came about. A third step was that yes, we are many, we have to, in order to be successful, we have to work together and we have to act according to the laws, otherwise we won't be successful. Things work like this. Yeah? I have an interest, but there is something which I have to respond to. So the eternal laws, how do things work? Yeah? An understanding for this or dealing with it took place. Again, shaping forces within the body. Capacities came about. And then a next step was that people said, and now slowly we have to learn to become somebody. Not just in my descendants afterwards, but just here. I want to be recognized now. And a sort of selfish deed became a sort of culture. Yeah? Here I am. Yeah. What are you doing here? We still have it in our... we know what it is, but it was completely different. It was culture. And then, after a while, a phase came where, helpful forces had to be helped. That, people, the greediness which just comes out of what I've just told you, that you can regulate it. Then the next step was that the power of thinking developed and people learned to understand, oh, this person can think, and they orientated themselves there, where they found somebody who had strong thinking capacities. And the next step was that you even had to learn to believe what you thought. Just to arrive at yourself in a way, you connect with there, but I believe it, I feel myself when I feel the higher. Maybe let's put it like this. But it's not said that it worked. It was just, these were the themes, and there you had everything was going on like this. Okay, so that's just a story, a fairy tale. That's a little bit the descendants, step by step, mankind entered into the bodily existence and, shaped their being in the body. And then, very often, development of mankind, when you look what's going on, is that it's drawn like a curve. A curve, one half descending, the other one arising again. Because the hope is that we're not just, that we do not lose the origin where we come from, and the distance to where we come from becomes greater and greater, but we have to, where do we come from? Maybe we can go through something, but also reach this level where we came from again, to harvest from what we learned. Yes, and now, very often, so these coming down to earth is a very, very long thread in a way. And then sometimes people like to put the event when Christ was on earth, to name it as a turning point. So this way further into matter and further into matter, that this, what Christ brought, made us aware of, or gave us a chance to more and more connect what really lives in us, what is a human being. And through this awareness, the tension between who we are and who we could be becomes even bigger. But we can also, again, in this tension, develop and grow into what we can feel about ourselves more and more. And then, when we think that this curve describes a long period of evolution, then there's 600 years between Buddha and Christ. It's not much. It's, in a way, one event. And that you can develop power, you cannot be on one place. Huh? If you play a football game and you must bring the ball somewhere, yeah, and with your partner you must have a distance that you can start playing with each other. And so also that this turning point could come about, maybe them two had to have a little bit of distance, timely, that they could create something together. And yeah. Now, I have not forgotten that I asked, why do we use the sounds of the alphabet with these steps? And when now, in the time of Buddha, yeah, Buddha reached the state where he developed from a Maitreya, from a Bodhisattva, to a Buddha. He made an important step. When you again listen to stories, then you can hear that a Bodhisattva is a being a highly developed being which goes with the development of humanity for a long time. And he lives together with the spiritual world. He's connected with higher beings. And when he makes the step to a Buddha, yeah, what Siddhartha Gautama did 600 years before, observing what's going on in mankind, that the world was full of suffering. Yeah? He, in a way, managed to connect, to make the step that he fully connected his being with this being which accompanied him for such a long time. So, in a way, he was able to lift his bodily being on this level. And Christ, on the other hand, it's the cosmic human in a way, where through a representative was just this energy, this kind of everything, just came into the world, came down to the earth. So Buddha, in a way, lifted our potential towards a higher development, towards our, you could even say, higher being. And Christ said, you can bring your essence, or the essence of humanity, into your personality. Yes, and now at that point, Buddha described his path, or gave his path. And then he started with the right opinion. And when you compare now the story of the descent of mankind in a way, yeah, then it was about the belief. What do I believe? The last step. And Buddha starts with the right opinion. What do you believe? Then, what is essential? And then, when the power of thinking has developed, he gives the right judgment. How do I judge? How do I, think about the things? When the greed, had to be learned to handle it on the descending way, as a third step, Buddha says the right word. What do you say, and what do you can keep back and just listen? Do you have to bring it? Is it fruitful? Does it serve? And then before there was that selfish deed, and Buddha speaks about the right deed. And before there was this acting in accordance to eternal laws, and here it's the right deed. It's the right standpoint. It's the value. How am I connected with being a physical being, and how can I at the same time act according to my spiritual essence? Can I bring it together, those two different kind of laws? And before we had this greed to become someone that generations later also feel me, have me in her body. And here it's the right striving. How do I strive that it serves others? And the first step, do you remember, it was the capacity of memory. And the seventh step is the right memory. So you clearly can see the Buddha was not just thinking about, what was good for the people, the soul needs this and then soul needs that, but he refers to how not just the souls, but the being in the body was formed, worked through tens of thousands of years on different stages. And then he goes again through these stages, and in a way he tries to lift, to redeem, to lighten again what might have become too dense on the way down. And also there it was just given, you just had to develop it. The bodies became like that. And now you have to do these steps yourself, consciously and in this uplifting way. So Buddha, in a way, gave a way through the body. And that's why you can say, or you can feel that it has to do, if you want to look at it like this, with the chakras. And you could say the right opinion is addressing capacities of the crown chakra. The right judgment is addressing the wisdom of the forehead chakra. The right word is addressing what lives in our way, how we express ourselves. And the right deed is addressing the heart chakra, of the right deed. And the solar plexus chakra is, do I stand on earth? Am I grounded? Yes. And, how do I bring those two together in a way that makes me strong? The right striving is not how do I bring my ideals into the world, but how to, as a bodily being, do I bring my love into the world, And the base chakra, the right memory. What does live in me? What do I bring with me out of the past? that it can respond from that to what's meeting me in the present. So you see, it's a way through the body. And when you speak about chakras, you could also speak about planets. Yeah? And it's in a way how the planets are situated around the Earth in space. It's a spatial quality. Buddha gave us a path to redeem our spatial limitations towards a wider consciousness. And this consciousness, which was so important at Buddha's times and which should not get lost in the further evolution of mankind, and you remember, at that time you had a path going down, going down, going down, causing even suffering, such a lot of suffering. There was no sign of this development might change. It was just the forces of Earth worked like that. Boom, boom, denser and denser and denser. And that's where Buddha said, yes, we go through it the other way around, yeah? We use it, what has happened, as steps, yeah? We're not developing something else, but what has come down in evolution, we use it as steps to go through the body. And we also address this consciousness of the individuality. And that's now important, that we in the West very often combine or attribute our concept of individuality with the concept of personality. It's just maybe purer or higher or less material. So if you look at the personality, then it's the here and now, and do I manage to be myself? Am I identical with myself? Yeah? Can you, what I say, trust what I say? Yeah? Can I speak about my feelings? Do I have to hide things from myself because I don't dare to look at it? Yeah? And if I get these things round in processes, through this I develop my personality, I manage to be here. And Steiner likes to stress that individuality is something completely different. And that's Buddha wants us to make us aware of. And Steiner then uses the examples of reincarnation. And it's so important in Buddhism and in the Indian religions from early times. And so natural. And we have to rediscover it again, in the West. But here we must be careful that we do not think, oh, I was this person and maybe I was that person. Because when you start thinking, you might realize that cannot be, because if I was that person, I am here. I am Theodore. So if I was this person, I, Theodore, cannot be this person because Theodore is this one. Yeah? And Marcus sowieso, yeah, Marcus the Sixth, no idea if this person ever existed. Marcus the Sixth, yeah, was Marcus the Sixth, but not Theodore. Yeah? So, if I'm true with myself, I cannot say I was this person. On the contrary, if this person would still be me, or I would be this person would be present. Also Marcus the Sixth would be present. And yes, you know, things like this can happen, and then suddenly Marcus the Sixth start to speak. And if somebody says, oh no, that's not you, what are you doing here? You get even this, Marcus the Sixth gets even angry because he doesn't want to be seen. He only wants Theodore to be seen. So that's, in a way, you're double. And that's the one you have to get rid of, not to unite with it. Yeah? So, what is then? And that's so important. But we, in our earthbound consciousness, think, I was this and was that, like a piece of matter. And how we manage to be this one or that one, we cannot imagine, but we just say yes. And that's why Steiner says Buddha is so important. Because he makes us aware of the individuality. And the individuality is what flows through the personality. That's not Theodore, but what flows through Theodore, and maybe what flows only through Theodore, yeah? But, yeah, that's a completely different thing. So, my higher ego, or my higher I have an ego, I have a developed ego, maybe I have an I and have even a higher I, yeah? I should not end then an individuality. At a certain point I must manage to realize that the concept, how I think personality and individuality is not appropriate of approaching what it is. It's completely different. And Buddha, and in the eighth, the 7 steps lead to the eighth one, the right meditation. It's very often practiced in a way that you practice this becoming calm by disidentification from what's going on. You let your thoughts pass. That's not me. Yeah? You let this pass, and you have a pain there, and you observe the pain. I observe the pain, but the pain is not me. And you start to disidentify more and more, until nothing of your personal stuff is left. And here also, it's a challenge, because being on the way always means there's the way, and normally you fall here or you fall there, and it's very hard to pursue here. So we are allowed to do this, and we do it as a collective anyway. And here it can lead to what you observe such a lot now, that highly developed people, soulful people practice, for mainly also the very intelligent people start practicing this becoming calm, practicing this disidentification, and then suddenly the result is, that's not me, that's not me. There is no soul, there are only impressions. And I'm not the impressions, I'm just consciousness. And from there, it's a very small step towards what you hear then. There is no we do not know what consciousness is, but we can observe that it's there and how it comes about out of all these sensations. And from there you can make a small step, a little step towards, okay, if consciousness is just a product of neuron networks, you might better how to pronounce it than me, and yeah, you can start to really develop try to develop artificial intelligence and things which out of what you have learned from Buddhism, and even take it as a proof, it confirms you. And maybe there's another way of going a step further, because it was clear that Buddha made the steps towards the disidentification to reach a nirvana for his disciples then to make even a next step. But what is coming there? So maybe you understand a little bit what I try to say, that you have in the Western world this personality aspect, in the Eastern world the true individuality aspect. In a way, we have to learn to bring both together. Yeah? And the path might be our chance to open ourselves up towards this challenge. Especially for us, me. I don't know who is watching, for the Westerners, yeah? Who deal with things like that. Which live all over the world. No, it's not, it's great. So, and now, what did Steiner now do? Buddha taught us this step, yeah? Lift your body, lift your existence into what's true again, and detach from what is not true, what is not you. And now Steiner refined his words, but more or less the same. Just, yeah, I told you I can meditate easier, these words, or they have layers in them. But he did something else, and that's completely new. He said, practice the right opinion on Saturday, the right judgment on Sunday, the right word on Monday, the right deed on Tuesday, the right standpoint on Wednesday, the right striving on Thursday, and the right memory on Friday. Okay, a practical advice. Why not? So you know what to do, and we like to know what to do. But then it becomes strange because he says, oh, yeah, and then practice the right opinion for a week, and then practice the right judgment for a week, and then practice the right deed for a week. And then you say, hey, the Saturday exercise I should practice for a week, and the Sunday exercise for a week, that doesn't fit. And then you realize it's about the quality of the days of the week, because they also are connected to the names of the planets. Saturn, Saturday, Sunday, Sunday, Monday, Moon, and so on. Tuesday, Mardi, Zeus, Mars, Mardi, and so on. And there, another story, and already days of the week mean, days of the week do not speak about space, but days of the week speak about time. And when you look into the names of the planets, of the days, then you notice that in spiritual traditions, sometimes you speak about the evolution of the earth in a way that there was a Saturn state of evolution, a sun state of evolution, a moon state of evolution, a Mars state of evolution, a Mercury state of evolution in which we are said to be in at the moment, Jupiter state of evolution, and the Venus state of evolution. So the days of the week actually indicate these stages of evolution. So Steiner now brings the timely aspect of what we also should be aware of, that we are beings which live in space and time. And when we do this, then we start with Saturnus. But then the second day is Sunday. We address the sun for qualities here. And then third module now in our case, we address the moon forces, yeah? Before were the Mars forces, yeah? And then when we reach the heart level, we address the Mars forces. Strange, Mars. Huh? But then you realize, if you want to bring change about, if you want to turn bad to good, yeah, you need to be able to turn the key. Yeah, it's about acting. Yeah, can I bring this, what lives in me, through me, that it does good, or does it get lost on the way? So it makes such a lot of sense. And then when you reach Mercury, then it's again this, yes, quality of the solar plexus and so on. And that's now we begin with Eurythmy, because then you could say, okay, this force, Saturnus, is represented in the U. The sun forces are represented in the Au gesture. The moon forces are represented in the I gesture. The Mars forces are represented in the E gesture. The Mercury forces, yeah, which have to do with the solar plexus, are represented in the E gesture, yeah, and the forces of this. When then the Jupiter forces come, the O, then it's connected with the right driving, with the sacral chakra and the base chakra. The right member is then connected with Venus. Let things come, be open, receive. And from there, give. It was not a good explanation of the Venus, but it's just completely open to perception. Yeah? But from there, becoming grounded and having a deep connection to the inner of the earth. So you see, Steiner now gives to the path the aspect of time. And now we can try if we can approach his words, if it helps us to not forget to take it serious, that it said combine it with the planetary forces of evolution and use the Eurythmy gestures to dig into what I give you. And now, if you have fun, let's try one little thing, and afterwards, if there's still time, and there will be time, I will show you, because the days of the week, the planetary forces are connected with the vowels, the heart forces. Why I think bringing the consonants, and which consonants, might be extremely helpful to bring this taking part in the evolution, not just developing myself, but being part of, in mankind, this awareness of the individuality has to develop, or is about to develop, that we can take part in it, and by taking part in it, feel connected with it, and out of this receive strength and happiness from another source than just from within. But first, we start from within. Okay. The second part, we will do a game and you tell me what I have to do. The first part I chose myself because I thought it's not nice not to start with the examples from the early modules. Let's take the last one. And then just share the screen once again to show you that in the last step 8 is the right meditation, the right mindfulness. And there, yeah, you could say, yeah, collection, yeah, right gathering, collection is the skill to control the troubled and wandering mind. And that's the blue field in the middle where you can read what you often read about this 8th step. And then Rudolf Steiner brings a more elaborated version of that. And he says, I read it to you, it's very small, but you can just listen to what I say. From time to time, look into oneself, even if only for 5 minutes a day at the same time. Thereby one should immerse oneself into one's inner being carefully consult with oneself, examine one's principles and develop them, consider one's knowledge or the opposite carefully in one's thoughts, and weigh up one's duties. Think about the content and the true purpose of life. Have serious displeasure about one's own mistakes and imperfections. In a word, seek to find the essential, the enduring, and pursue corresponding goals, for example, virtues that are to be attained earnestly. Do not make the mistake of thinking that one has done something well, but constantly strive towards the highest precedent. This exercise is also called the right mindfulness. Yes, when you hear this, maybe it happens to you as it does to me. You get just confused. So many things, to this, to that. Everything sounds a little bit different. Become a better person. Yeah, and okay, I try to become a better person. Yes, but never think you have managed. Yes, but still strive. Yeah. So how do you practice that? And then it was in 2017 when I did the course with Pascal Fischli, a friend of mine, and she discovered something very important. And this we can do practically now. Just those of you who don't mind, we're just experimenting. You don't have to be able to do things perfectly, but if you use your body and the Eightfold Path as Buddha has given, we have now understood, is about the development of the body. The body was brought slowly, shaped into modeled in a way that the soul developed in it, and now we have to bring lightness into it. That's the Eightfold Path. And we do it with our soul. And the soul forces are the heart forces, the vowels. And in the alphabet, do you remember the order? No, we don't do that. We do it in the order of the days of the week, because that's how we need it. Then we just repeat it. The U is this parallel arms. You feel parallelity, and your left and right come together. If I stand like this, it's an O, and then my legs come together, because I feel how my left and right meet. That's O. The Ao is, I feel the circumference, a big circle around me, and I use one arm lower arm to even create a bundle of rays to go. The one ray is not enough, that's I, yeah? But that's not power. I need all rays in one bundle to be, yeah? And you will notice, I'll teach you during the course, that this, you will then, if you do it in a specific way, you feel how your center starts to become stronger, and you do not get lost out there. And then the I gesture is, you are very open and tender and aware in your hands, and one hand just approaches the other one, and then you just start feeling yourself. And through feeling yourself, growth comes about, and this creates even growth in yourself. So you have an A, E, E, yeah? Which really strengthens you from within. So we have arrived at Moon. Now Mars comes. Our left and right, that's our mystery. But if I feel torn apart, it's this. What shall I do? They want this from me, and them want that from me. So, but inwardly, it's our male and female energies, one side and the other, and slowly I start to bring them together, and I feel it in my body. I do it inwardly, the arms just follow, and I bring them to rest on each other, and I become calm inside. And as an effect, my strength grows, and I am protected. And then the I gesture, the right pronunciation, the pronunciation we would need here is the E, like in thick or thin, yeah, is I stretch myself. And already here you might notice stretch more and stretch more and stretch more. You make yourself, you bend yourself without wanting it. And so the I, the E means nothing is bending me, not even I myself. Yeah, so act again against your own stretching. And then the O gesture is the round gesture created from the heart. And there you feel, when you really put your heart into this gesture, it brings you forward on the heels. And then the R gesture is, you open up from out your heart. You use the heart forces to stretch your arms in an open gesture. But this opening gesture you make to be able to receive, you just become receptive through the arms. This leans you back on the heels, and the gesture brings you on the heels and actually deepens your connection to the earth, and a sort of nourishment takes place from all sides and from down there. So, and now you could discover that Steiner, in his words, actually goes step by step through the whole story once again. He only makes an introduction. He wants to address the level on which we do it, namely in time. The whole story of the Eightfold Path is now, let it take place in time. And maybe those of you who know the T gesture, yeah, it's belonging to the heart chakra, the T. I just show it so easy. You just stand there, you feel your center, you lift your arms upwards, you bring reverence to what's above you. And there's a responding quality, yeah, you feel how the heaven responds, answers, yeah? And you just allow this energy from above to penetrate you, to sink down through your body, to reach every cell of you, down to your toes. But it's just responding to that you're still streaming upwards. Yeah? You are not pulling the heavens down. Okay. And how does Steiner start? He says, from time to time, look into oneself, even if only for 5 minutes a day for the same time. How often does he speak about time? 3 times he uses the word. And if you know that the human being consists in a way of an upper system and a lower system, and that Steiner describes that both systems have the same qualities, both have a time body, a life body. Yeah? You could connect the T gesture with this saying, the first words, the following way. You just open up towards the left and right, the plane energy, and the time is spaceless. And they from time, yeah, from the lower system's time, and then come up to time, to the upper system's time. Yeah? Look into oneself. Think about this individuality thing. We are looking into one's self, yeah, the true oneself. Yeah? And you do it by going through your body, but you still feel connected to the complete surrounding, even if only for 5 minutes a day. Okay, down to earth. And then again, at the same time. So time and time become the same time. So that's how you could, for the intellect, it's a little bit strange to follow this, but with the body you can so nicely feel it. Let's try one time. From time to time. Look into one's self. Even if only for 5 minutes a day, at the same time. Try to feel both times. Okay, so normally we would say at the same time, I try to do it at 8 o'clock every evening, or yeah. That's not wrong, but there's another layer which you could try to drink out of what you read here. Great, and now we do the vows of the days of the week. So we have from time to time, and now we do the ooh, and we just bring it down in front of our body, inwardly. Thereby one should immerse oneself into one's inner being, carefully consult with one's self. Ooh, what's essential? Then ow, periphery and center. Examine one's principles, the leading principles, big principles, and develop them. Okay, I have to do work in my heart. Then the I gesture. Consider one's knowledge. Feel what you have in yourself. Or the opposite. Ooh. Carefully in one's thoughts and weigh up one's duties. Okay, take time. Huh? And then the E gesture, the E. Think about the content and the true purpose of life. Bring your left and right together. Create this peace that you really can think about the true purpose of life. Then the E gesture, I. Have serious displeasure about your own mistakes. You remember? Oh, yes, I tried to do my best. I was stretching towards the highest aims, yeah? Try to have serious displeasure about one's own mistakes and imperfections. And now try to rescue inner uprightness. In one word, find to seek the essential, the enduring. In this, yeah? And then the O, let go. It's so much connected with your lower being, the right striving. Huh? And pursue corresponding goals. For example, virtues that are to be attained earnestly. You remember the right striving. Do not make the mistake of thinking that you have done something well, but constantly strive towards the highest precedent. Again, right striving. The O is the aim of everything. Oh no, that was the A. Do not make the mistake of thinking that one has done something well. So let what you have done resonate in you, but constantly strive towards the highest precedent. So you see, I have already connected this last sentence with the O, and I was so happy. And it was also possible to connect it with the A. Yeah? So we are not bound to everything, but we make the text speak. That's the idea. Yeah? And that's why you can find your own ways too. Yeah, that exercise is also called the Right Mindfulness. And there we do again the T, yeah, because it's a conclusion of the whole, what we've done. But then we start to do the Tao, huh? The right mind. We open the arms, we receive, we let go to the earth, and we practice to really let go, because that the I can come, the letting go has to take place first, and then the O again comes back from there. Okay, you are great. Just sit down. Those of you who have joined, you are so brave. In the others, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, we tried to make something out of this text, and I hope that you have realized that the text before was just words and words and words and everything so similar. And then you discover that Steiner actually put his ideas very clearly, step after step after step, and eurythmy helps us to detect and then follow this path, and then feel it with the body. And when the body has felt it, that's our belief, is he will support us from within to give birth to what he could feel, yeah, supporting us to bring birth to it. Great. Now, I would like to ask you if you want to challenge me. And I want to ask you to write in the chat to which vowel you want me to bring the consonants. Because I couldn't prepare all the consonants, so we will see what's going to happen. But I thought it's nice to search for it together. And I would like to ask you not to suggest you the German I, yeah, and the Au, because these belong to the first three modules, and let's rather take something which has a further distance to, yeah, our start. So suggest the E gesture, yeah, or the E gesture, this I, yeah, or the O gesture, or the R gesture, yeah. And the first one you write in the chat, I will choose. And in the meantime, I will show you, or maybe I wait until somebody writes a wish. R, E, I, O. And if 3 people write ow, then I have to do ow, that's clear. But it was just an idea to take one of the second half of the course. Yeah. So, anybody. If no wish comes, I'm going to explain first why I think we should bring the consonants and what they would help us, and so you have time to still make a suggestion. And the vowels, as I've told you, they belong to our heart forces. They are heart qualities, yeah, and from there they are medicine for our body. The consonant forces, yeah, they are movements, they move, they are explosion, curl, and they blow somewhere, and they roll, yeah, and they contract, and they expand things, and all, yeah, that's what the body needs, that the digestion works, that, yeah, and everything else. So you could say the consonants describe forces which live in the world and also in our body. Yeah? In the world we have them in moods, in what's going to happen. And and we could say that with the vowels, we are busy that we understand what these texts are about, that our body understands, yeah, what it is that the body supports us, yeah, and we know what we could practice. And the consonants, maybe they are the forces which carry us into the world, or maybe even into the forces what's behind the world, so that we can start, we practice, but what's the surrounding of our practicing? And that we can open up towards, can we get a little bit of a glimpse in what are we practicing? That we are not only working from out ourselves, but that we feel it is noticed, it has a nest in which it takes place. Yeah? It becomes part of something which is not only a material coming out. Good. Lynn, you were the first one. Christopher, I would also be great. Every sound would be there. If you have children, you must always say, you're the best one, and you're the best one, and you're the best one. That's true, everyone is the best one. And Lynn, the R is the best one because it belongs to the right memory, yeah, to the Friday exercise. And now I quickly show you where you can find these ideas. I share the screen once again. Give me a minute here. And when you go to the website, then you can choose under courses the Eurythmy School. And then you scroll down. Yeah, you have a course, the upper and the lower system, where this, what I've spoken about, is put into practice. And you also find a course about the consonants. It's not finished yet. We have to do a lot of work with repackaging what we have done, but we will continue, and at the moment you find them. And when you open this course, you have an introduction, and then you find 2 lessons. One is the planets connected to the signs of the zodiac, and now I jump directly into the polar zodiac signs. And from there, or there, you see a chart. And at the left side of the chart, you see the names of the zodiac signs, and then the planets, which are called the rulers of these signs. They give these signs their power to work on Earth. And there you will see that each or most of the planets rule 2 zodiac signs. Yeah? Mars, for example, the red one, rules Aries and Scorpio. And Venus, who was chosen by Lynn now, is ruling Taurus and Libra. And when you look into this round chart at the right side, then you see that this at the left top, the green triangle, in the inner circle you find the sign of Venus and a little R drawn into it. That's the Venus with the R. And there you find that Taurus belongs to it, and there you find the R. Yeah, the letter R is the letter which belongs to Venus. And when you look at the right side, you have a yellow triangle, and there you also find the R, the Venus sign with the R in it. And there you see that it's a Virgo, it's a Libra sign, and there the C and the CH, yeah, belongs to it. So we work with the R gesture and the C gesture when we practice the right memory. And now, we just take it serious. Dear C, dear R, can you help us? Right memories, what can I learn from everything? Yeah, because I carry such a lot in me. All the wisdom of the world lives in me. And when I perceive things, how does this learning take place? And already here, how does this learning take place? You notice that this R gesture already comes about. For those of you who know Eurythmy, R is, I bring something in here and I let it go again. But it's on a different level. It's not working against it. Yeah? And here you have more the nourishing forces, but also condensing forces. And here you have the giving forces, the loosening forces, yeah? And in between, the regulation. So, okay, so when we now think about right memory, then as the R says, it's about a process. So, and if you want to stand, just, I have, and when you pull in already here, you notice I'm passing my base chakra here. And the right memory has to do with the base chakra. And from there, I rise to the heart level, maybe even to the throat, from where I speak. And then I start to give, because the R belongs to the throat. So, it's about this interplay, and I have my inner, I take in, I remember what I've learned, what I carry it, and I give without forgetting what I have felt here. Yes? That's not how you normally do R, but now in our case we do practice R. And when I now give, I keep this connection down my spine to my base chakra. Yeah? And we do this very tenderly, just reflecting on it, becoming aware, and then you let go. And then you go into your day, you just try to keep this feeling alive. And then you can notice, and that's a theme, yeah? And I carry it into the world, and it's a basic process of the world anyway. That, yeah, brings the R to this exercise. And the C, when you remember, there was from the before Buddha's time, descending, descending, descending. Then Buddha and Christ started their interplay. And then this, it was not, this had not taken place yet, this ascending path, but because that was still future. But Buddha said, start here, go up step for step again. Yeah, what brought you down? Bring it into lightness. Yeah, bring change about. And then you see, and that's the C gesture. Just, and we finish in about 3 minutes. It doesn't take very long anymore. But when you touch your hips, you can just, it helps you to feel your hips and you can move them. And then you can use your hands to make them light. And maybe remember, if you're a woman, yeah, or just look at the beach, yeah, how beautiful, quite instinctively young ladies like to play with their hips, yeah, because it lifts that, it's the Venus force which comes forward through this. And now, this would mean we have these descending forces. And now we use the hands to create this C gesture, and we just at the very bottom of the curve, we bring this energy of 1 to all levels, 8 levels, or 7, and then the encompassing gesture. Yeah? And the force to do it, the ability to do it, comes out of our Libra, out of the sign which is so much connected with air and lightness. Yeah? And then you could even imagine there was this coming down stream. And slowly in history this going up, yeah, step by step. So in our everyday life, with all these catastrophes happening and events during history, that's the other part of the curve. And maybe that in the middle, the C constantly now produces this lightness, makes this other curve going up. And that's maybe what I mean, why it makes sense to practice the Eightfold Path together, that we are not just in our personal struggle, yeah, with the everyday events going on at the moment, but there is also a sort of inner purification which just takes place, that development can take place again. And when you have this in mind, we have practiced for 7 modules, 7 weeks now. That's the idea. And then you walk with this idea in mind. Just, I'm part of this, just a little corn, yeah, not a big part, but I'm part of this. And what I'm doing belongs to this movement. That's what the consonants give us when we draw them from, yeah, the vowel Steiner has suggested. And by indicating, or Rudolf Steiner indicating, what Buddha brought has to be developed during the next 5,000 years. We have only made half the way. And that he indicates there we have the knowledge of what individuality really is. Then it's surprising, isn't it, that out of the R, the story of the path, in a way, comes forward again when we use the corresponding consonants. Thank you, Lynn, for choosing the best vowel out of 7 best vowels.